Alrighty, hello and welcome in everybody to the uh, Rapid Tier 1 around Spain. Sorry for the lack of monitor display. There we go. Bit of technical difficulties, but we are underway for qualifying action here. It's at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. A lot of cars getting out on the track now. I am Lindsay Muddle, and I am joined by J-Rad in the comms box. How are you, mate?
Mate, I'm ecstatic as always, and especially for this track as well, as it's very technical here. We definitely saw T2 last night. The qualifying gaps are very close together, so most likely we'll definitely see that once again. But in terms of the racing around here, it's a little bit sketchy, especially the long main straight heading into turn 1, and then the tricky sector 2. Pretty much it's going to be a thriller of a race, and I think that bump at the pit lane is still there, so it's definitely waiting for some drivers to be catched out by it.
Yeah, a good couple of problems around this circuit, but they aren't the most common of problems, especially the bump out of this next right-hander that we're watching with Oxchillo right now. They're not super common, but they definitely can happen, so that's something to keep an eye out for. But with such a good circuit, you can't leave it off the calendar forever. Had to run it at least at one point during this interesting game cycle, and now we are here at Spain, and we are underway for what is going to be a round with plenty of questions from the driver's cockpit, I'm sure, about why, but also it should deliver some absolutely great racing. It's such a good testing circuit as well, with all of its variety in the corners, but nonetheless, it still creates some absolutely fantastic racing, especially on the F1 games as well. So it'll be really good to see all of these drivers just pushing their cars to the absolute limit around this fantastic circuit.
Yeah, most definitely, and I think, and well, we've gotten the fixtures down packed as well. We don't have to do a restart, so we've learnt from last week. As I think I saw as well, Jack, his car retiring, leaving the session, so he's going to be starting at the back of the grid for this race. We'll definitely have to do, obviously, a mandatory restart, obviously, because for the car ghosting. Still on board with Oxchillo, rounding the final corner. The championship leader at the moment as he heads up to the line. And he'll put himself pretty much an 11-2 to start off this qualifying session. So that is the benchmark. His brother does a 12-1. His former championship rival, Jamie, sets an 11-3 with his teammate Viper setting an 11-9. So Oxy is still on top so far.
Yeah, and Abyss is now running towards the line. So is Lord Mahavir. Here goes P3, and Abyss then takes that right off of him, going P3 in the Ferrari. Trent Newton across the line now goes P6. Josh Ioannidis on an outlap. Potato is about to finish the lap here at Catalunya, and rounding the final corner, Potato is going to go P4 with an 11.6. Not a bad opening run for him, as Josh Ioannidis has just started a flying lap here in Spain. So we'll stay with the other VCARB as he rounds this circuit, as Thomas Reed retiring from this qualifying session. He did warn us earlier on before we got underway in the Tier 1 chat that he was going to retire because he was embarrassed of his pace of all things. So the championship contender not doing too well for himself potentially around this circuit, but someone has finally arrived. He has tried to take part in a couple of rounds, but finally in the P2 spot, Ryan Cox is sitting right up there on the timing tower.
He had to get that one out
Yep.
a little bit, eh? But yeah, Thomas, I'm looking at the standings at the moment. He's tied with Oxchillo, so for him to say his pace is embarrassing around here it's probably gonna hurt his chances of at least holding that championship lead against Oxchillo later in this race. But yes, it's very good to see Coxey. Well, as it stands at the moment, it's good to see he's driving well. It will have to see how it goes later in the race. But him and his teammates sitting second and fourth at the moment, respectively. So it's looking good for both the Aston drivers.
Yep, and that is exactly what you want in the constructors, but also the drivers as well. But we know that Ryan has been plagued with technical difficulties over the course of the start of his journey back into sim racing after he got a new setup. So hopefully all goes well for him tonight. He's done a lot of practice, a lot of testing, and it's held up so far. So hopefully it can survive this qualifying session and the race as well, as Farmer Sam has just kicked off a hot lap, and Munry is also on an out lap. So it's good to see him back and in form, on form for the moment, as Oxchiller has just begun another out lap. So is Jammy, and Munry is about to kick off his flying lap. As J-Rad, we have the what now predictions.
Yes, and I've just seen that as well. So and guess what? And for Lindsay to read.
Unbelievable
So,
stuff.
Lindsay, you've been obligated to read this.
Well, for the first time this season, my brain is going to hurt. So, P1 Finns, that's a bold prediction. P2 ZK, P3 Thomas, P4 Jammy, P5 Trenty, P6 Noodles, P7 Water, and P8 Munry, P9 Chillo, P10 Potato, P11 Rilo, P12 Dale, P13 Abyss, P14 Jack, P15 Sam, P16 Cozy, P17 Viper, P18 Yusuf, P19 Duck Guy, and P20 Campbell for telling him to shut up. 5 safety cars, a virtual safety car, a red flag, a black flag, and a blue flag. And 19 DNFs. Drunk driver Noodles, the fastest lap Sam, driver of the day Finns, best pit stop, and TP McLaren, and Williams for that's for me to read, and Mr. Italiano sausage sizzle pizza. J-Rad Italiano.
Jesus Christ.
There we go. The predictions were on point tonight, ladies and gentlemen. As we're so used to seeing from the man himself. But in the meantime, Farmer Sam did get a lap on the board. A 12.0. Oxchillo is heading through the third sector now to finish a lap of Spain, and he is going to surely improve. He does improve by 400ths and 11.178. Coxie is on an out lap, and he's about to begin a flying lap of this circuit. J-Rad, do you want to take this one away?
Well, as you're just saying that as well, Jamie improves to 11.17, 2 thousandths off, 2 thousandths ahead of Oxchiller, but now it is Coxie's turn, heading onto the main straight, heading towards turn 1, braking at the 50-meter board, heading into 4th gear. Keep the car stable, and he's gone, and yep, and he's done an oopsie.
Commentator's
That's
curse.
for sure.
Yep, that is the stuff dreams have made of. That is.
I think it's because I messed up the sentence, and then he kind of just went, he's gonna razzle dazzle through the corner and just somehow just messed it up. But it is what it is. But I definitely didn't look like a screen freeze to me. But if he's already getting treated with screen freezes, oh boy.
Yeah, I do hope not, as ZK is currently on a lap. I believe Mahavir is also on a lap, as he's invalidated, unfortunately for him, as Ineedes and Potato are both on outlaps. Trent is 4 tenths down on his previous best. ZK...
He improved up to P10, so he will not be on another lap. Yusuf stays P4, but he's improved by a little bit. And Coxie dives in, so I think this is a hiatus of trying to find who's on a lap, who isn't on a lap.
Yeah, that's exactly
But I think Noodles has started his lap as of now.
Yep, so here we are with the VCAL driver. We've already looked at one of his laps, but he's also now the only driver on a lap that we can find here in the commentary box. So Ineedes, as he pushes around the circuit, heads into the infamous turn 4. If you've seen the incident, you've seen the incident. If you haven't, you haven't. But I do think that everybody has seen the two Silver Arrows collide in 2014, as now he runs down the hill into turn 7 now. Flick it left, flick it back across through turn 8, the fast right-hander, and then flat out through turn number 9 very easily flat in F124, and even F123 last game is now down to turn number 10. Just keep it tight, nice and tidy, don't squirm on the exit. Very easy to lose traction as he heads now up through the hill through turn 12, and then completely flat out through turn 13, and then the run to the final corner. He's going to dive into the pit lane, so now we'll go back to Potato as he's 6,000ths down in the first sector as he still is pushing along. 6,000ths is easy to make back up as long as he doesn't go on a Delta watching spiral, and Potato looking nice and tidy through the second sector so far as he heads through the flat out turn number 9 and then towards turn 10, looking quite comfortable with his lap at the moment, and he is nearly a 10th up. That would move him past Abyss and potentially even all the way past Rilo. Never mind, Rilo has just improved up into P3. So where will Potato place himself here in this qualifying session for the second runs? He's going to round the final corner now. The Haas driver looking comfortable, looking pacey, and across the line an 11.5 P6 for Potato.
That was a very good lap from Potato, but an even better lap from Rilo. I'm pretty sure, I remember back in the day, even this track, it's Rilo's one of his favorites. So he hovers down towards the back, but this is one of his favorite tracks, so he loves it here. So it's definitely going to be a good outie fit from him, that I can tell. So we're going to have to keep an eye on him for the races. Now, Jamie has started his flying lap, so can he improve that 2,000th gap between himself and Oxchillo? It's I don't know at this stage. Oxy's pretty much down a tenth and a bit on his time. We'll see the first sector time for Jamie. He's up by half a tenth already, Lindsay.
Yeah, he's pushing around this circuit, and as he's heading down the hill, this is where the no collisions really start to show why they're so good. He has a car in front of him. He doesn't have to worry about the traffic. He's not going to get any slipstream advantage. It's just going to be all the pace he has, as he actually has a snap there through the second sector. So as he heads towards turn number 10, he's got to be eyeing up his Delta and just hoping he's still up despite the snap, but that can lose you a lot of time. He's dead even with his previous best lap time. I think that's the first time I've ever seen that on F1 24 or any other F1 game, but he's done the exact same time through the first two sectors, and he's invalidated in the third. So heading into the final runs of this qualifying session, that is not what you'll want, but he'll head back into the pit lane and get mentally prepared for the next one, as Coxie is now heading through the third sector. He's flat out through the penultimate corner, flat out now through the final corner. Will it be an improvement into the top 3 for Ryan Cox as he crosses the line in 11.319? No, it will not be, but it is a 300th improvement for the Aston Martin, so he won't be too disappointed with that one, but definitely not the sort of pace he wants to be showing, I'm sure.
Switching on board to Noodles now. He's just under 2/10 up on his time at the moment, so he's hovering around where Abyss is, and he's slowed down at the apex at the hairpin, so he's going to lose a little bit of time through this second sector up the hill now, using all the curb and everything up the hill onto the DRS straight. He opens up the DRS using all the overtake towards the sector 2 line. He's down by 3/10, so he's probably going to have to come back in and then do another run. Does Noodles. ZK's in the grass. Daff's down his time. Campbell, I think, is starting from last, so he's making a bold decision, Lindsay.
Yeah, he was going to qualify if Gregory Prisball was racing, and he was in the reserve list, but checked in a little bit too late, so we are missing out on the last the qualifying of Campbell Adams, and probably a first challenge from Gregory Prisball, but I'm sure we'll see him show his face a few more times this season. So that is the story behind him not qualifying, as Finns is still out on mediums at this point in qualifying with 3.5 minutes to go. Potentially not the most conventional strategy around any circuit, and he's going to try it anyway, as Dale Beveridge is currently on a hot lap in the Mercedes. He's the only driver on a proper hot lap in this qualifying session, and he is using battery, and he is 800ths up, but he's going to need to find a lot more than that if he even wants to make up a singular place.
Yeah, most definitely, and just right on board with Finns. He is down. It's time. I don't know why he's using mediums unless he thinks he has enough time to set a better lap on soft compound, which where he's sitting at the moment, I reckon he could definitely shave at least 2-3 tenths off that time. But right on board, Dale Beveridge heading into pretty much the final part of the lap. He loses the back end, but he's up by 2.5 tenths up the hill now. 4th gear, carrying the speed through, and then to the new part of the Catalunya circuit, rounding the final corner, throwing the car in, using all the overtake up to the line for Dale Beveridge, and he stays P16, but he improves to an 11.9. But from first all the way down to 16th, it's pretty much 6 tenths,
Yep.
if that.
It's a very close gap here in Tier 1, and Spain creating a little bit of that as well. Quite a short lap time, only 1:11s here around Catalunya, so that's exactly what you want to see, and that's exactly what brews close qualifying sessions, as we have a lot of drivers now coming out for their final laps in qualifying. Yusuf Goat will be the first one to kick off a qualifying lap, and then I believe that is Potato hot on his heels as well. So we'll go with Yusuf, and then I think I want to keep my eyes on the man in P4, his teammate, Ryan Cox. So when he starts his hot lap, we'll go on board with Ryan for the second time in this qualifying session and watch what he has to show off, as Jamie, Oxchilo, and the works are also on their outlap. So Yusuf starts his qualifying lap here to round out the session, but all eyes will be to his teammate in a couple of moments. But the Aston Martin makes his journey down towards turn 1, 2, and 3. So through the right, through the left, and then completely flat out now through turn number 3. Already a good start to his qualifying lap, and that was a very smooth sector 1, and he's going to be 500ths down though. However, as now we'll go to his teammate in P6. We'll get the telemetry up and go for an onboard lap with Ryan Cox around Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, as he's burning the battery all the way down the straight. What more would you expect on a qualifying lap? Use all the curb on the entry down towards turn 1, 4th gear. The returning man, the returning driver to form here in Rapid Tier 1 is trying to put his car on pole position, but he's going to have to pull out a magical lap if he wants to pull it off. He's only 100th up through the first sector. Get to the inside curb nicely. Power out earlier than you think as the corner opens up and allows you to push into it. As down to 3rd gear now. Tip it across, down the hill, and then power right out. It's a good start to the sector, but there's still a while to go here as he heads through the medium speed left-right, and he has a little bit of a snap to boot as well. His teammate retires from the session at the final corner, and now Ryan makes his run down towards turn number 10. Is he going to be up on his previous best? No, he's 100th down as the opportunity to get pole looks like it's slipping through his fingers here as he heads into the final sector of the lap here at Spain, and it doesn't look like he's going to improve, but there's still a sector to go. He could still find some magical lap time as he rounds the final corner now. What can Ryan Cox do as he heads up towards the line? It's going to be a 1:11.2 P3 as Oxchilo takes provisional pole with an 11.0. Jamie Dodge is 8 tenths up though. This is going to be extremely close in the battle for pole.
Well, he's
Jamie
2.5 tenths
is
up.
really pushing the limit of his Red Bull machinery as he heads through turn number 12 and towards the final 2 corners of the lap here in Spain. Is it going to be enough for pole position for Jamie Dodge as he rounds the final corner, opens up the DRS towards the line now, a 1 minute 10.9. That is your pole lap, ladies and gentlemen. Jamie Dodge is your pole sitter in Spain.
Oh my god. That's a lap. That is a lap. Wow. The two former rivals from last season going neck and neck. And Jamie banks in a 10.9. That is astonishing.
That is, what a lap that is. He takes it by just under 900ths of a second over Oxchilo. You can't get much closer than that. And then the gap back to Ryan is pretty significant. Nearly 3 tenths to the returning man. Then you have Rilo, Abyss, Viper, Ioannidis, Finns, Mahavir, Yusuf, Potato, Trent, Farmer Sam, Big Munnery, ZK, Beveridge, Daff, Trent, and I've lost the rest of the list, but what a fantastic end to qualifying in Catalunya as now we'll get ready for a lobby restart. Oh, I think I've seen
Yeah.
what Rad's seen.
That's
That
why I went,
is
oh.
torrential
That's why I went, oh.
rain. Now, Rad, as the person who sets up the lobbies, I forget. Do we run random weather again, or do we use the qualifying weather, J-Rad? Pick and choose?
It's gonna be a an owner question to be decided by that.
I think torrential rain. I think that'd make this ever better. That is full wet tire conditions, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you what. That could make it very, very interesting. As Rad, I'm sure will shoot the question very quickly. But here we go for the mock start. So just to witness the carnage really quickly as everybody spinning out across the line. And I dare say if we do have the full torrential rain, that could be the start regardless of it being a muck around start or not. As
This is just the 1998 Spa all over again.
Yeah, exactly right. This is just 1998 Spa. J-Rad's exactly right. As everybody flies off into the walls, left, right, and centre. Hopefully, this is not what we see in the race, but I think a lot of these drivers will not have practiced for the rain. But if we do have rain, something to really talk about here is Ryan Cox. I know we've been speaking about him a lot all night, but if you do remember, if you were around to witness the prime of his league racing days, he is a rain master. He is absolutely phenomenal in the rain. I don't think I ever watched him do a wet league race and not walk away with a win, so that could make it very interesting here in Spain. Normally at this point, I'd pull up the standings, but if I'm completely honest, I didn't set them up in time, so we will just have a brief intermission, ladies and gentlemen. So J-Rad and I will be right back for the racing action in a couple of moments' time, but sit put for now, and we will join you again for the racing action in a couple minutes' time. Well, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't think I've ever been more happy in my life. So, behind the scenes, if you are unaware, we did a vote, and it was keep the rain or go dynamic, and it'll probably end up being dry again. A lot of the drivers were crying about the rain, and they voted dynamic. And little did you know, the F1 game delivers. We are here for Rapid Tier 1 racing action, and we have wet weather in Spain. What are the odds? J-Rad, give me your 2 cents.
Mate. So I don't know if anyone heard me burst out laughing. If they didn't, thank God, but I did. I saw the rain as we loaded in, burst out laughing. Because these boys are gonna have their time with they're gonna have a great race. Let's just say that.
Yeah, it is going to be a very, very interesting race, but I am absolutely here for it. I'll tell you what, this is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's because we did say even though it was gonna be on dynamic, that they wanted to see if they could get the dry weather, and turns out Cody's just said, "No, no, not today. It's gonna be a wet race, and this is gonna throw a massive spanner in the works." But Lindsay, take it away.
Alright, so we come to the 5 red lights here in a rain-soaked event, and we are underway for racing action, and what is going on?
Wait, what? Ah, the ghosted lobby. GG.
Okay, well, we're not surely... this is...
Well, we got to restart because I made sure everything was normal, but I don't know what happened.
And Noodles has also called for dynamic weather reset again. We will be back again momentarily, ladies and gentlemen. Alrighty, and we are back once again, ladies and gentlemen, and this time after another dynamic reset to turn the ghosting off. Instead of having a full wet race, we are going to have a race in the sunny skies of Catalonia, and it is going to be a dry race. So we are going to get underway in a minute or so time, and then we will be ready to call the racing action. So, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, 5 red lights and away we go. Jammy gets off to a good start. Oxchillo trying to put the pressure on as they race down towards turn 1. Ryan Cox trying to get involved as well. He moves up into P2. Now the fight for P3 still continues as Abyss tries it the long way round here of turn 3, and he's going to continue to try it all the way around the outside here in lap 1, and he's going to get the place on Oxchillo as Finns is now trying it down the inside of Ioannidis, who's going slow. He's falling down the order all the way down towards P11, and he drops behind that first initial trained potato just in the clutches of the DRS range. Campbell Adams already making some moves, but he's just had a snap and is maybe going to get re-overtaken by Thomas Reed. No, he won't. He's up into P14. Thomas Reed in P15. So both of these drivers making their way through pretty quickly, as well as Jack Humphreys from last on the grid, starting in P16. So far, he's made his way up the grid into that 16th spot as Farmer Sam gets overtaken, as Yusuf Goat now trying it the long way round on Trent Newton. He gets it done, and he is going to swoop through into P9. Yusuf will lose the place as we round out lap 1.
Yeah, definitely a good start, as well as I think this Rilo gone off the track. He's gone way down in the order, down into P10. So at the moment, Jamie's had a great start off the line as well. Cox into P2. Darbover is retired in the pits, and he's left the session. So I think that's a race over for him, most definitely. But the biggest winners out on that first lap is Jack Humphreys, Thomas Reed, and Campbell Adams. 4, 5, and 6 up on their positions, and so too with Lord Mojave up 4 as well. Coxie up by 1, Abyss up by 2, and Trent Newton up by 3 as well. We've got another yellow flag, and this is actually for the retiring of the Merc. But yeah, other than that, it's a great start, and this top 4 have definitely got the getaway, and they're looking to drop Mojave down in the mix with the pack behind him.
Yeah, and they've nearly broken that 1 second gap, as well as here on lap number 2. And the tyres now, just taking a look at them. So, Jammy all the way down to Campbell Adams are on the medium compound tyres. Jack Humphrey on the hards, Daff taking the softs, ZK taking the mediums, and then the 2 up the back taking hards as they're squabbling down towards turn 1. Coxie takes the lead, and now Oxchillo goes down the inside of Jammy, moves up into P3, and he thought about sticking his nose in on Abyss as well, who moves up into P number 2. But Ryan Cox taking the lead in Tier 1 Rapid for the first time in what feels like an eternity. He'll be happy with that one, I'm sure, as also, I think my mic's having some problems, as you were saying, Rad, but I think
yeah, because you are a little bit quiet. So
apologies for the pause, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. All right. So apologies for that one. My mic decided to go and dump itself in the middle of the ocean and turn the volume down to 30 without me even touching anything. So that explains it. Sorry about that one. But here we go. At least we sorted it here for lap number 3. So we still have 30 more laps of racing action to call. So Ryan Cox in the lead, and Abyss in P2 following behind. Ryan Cox has not led a league race in Rapid T1 for quite some time, but yet here he is out the front, but I'm sure in a moment's time he will be overtaken and knocked back into that fighting spirit as well. As we head on to lap number 4, Yusuf, Ryan Cox's teammate, takes the fastest lap, and now he gets double overtaken by Oxchillo and Abyss, who stay and move up into 1 and 2. As down further in the order, there's a little bit of squabbling going on around the P9 position as Rilo trying it the long way round on Trent Newton, but he isn't able to get a nose in as they head down towards turn 4. Not quite able to work for him as Oxchillo is thinking about putting the nose down the inside of Abyss, but knows better than to go for that sort of overtake. But here on lap 4, it's all kicking off, but a lot of DRS swapping is what we're seeing. It's the common theme of this season, but here at Spain it seems ever more prevalent, at least here in the opening stint. We will see a change, I'm sure, as we go further and further into this race. More drivers will get more aggressive, and the turn 10 lunge is definitely an opportunity that a lot of the drivers will decide to take tonight, as Yusuf is going to make up a place on Mahavir, who's now under pressure from Finns down in P6, as he's had another massive snap as they head over the curb, and luckily not bouncing off the side of it as well as we begin lap number 5.
Yeah, most definitely. Now Oxchillo making the move on Abyss, and now he takes the lead. Coxie following suit as well, and he now moves up into P2, but definitely we're seeing a massive train on that front straight as Rilo drops down into P11 at the moment. He's now been overtaken by the other Alpine of Thomas Reid, who's up pretty much from the back of the grid to P10, so he's showing some immense pace. And as now his teammate looking for a move on Viper as he goes down the inside at the hairpin. Can he get the move done? A little bit of contact, but he gets the move done up into P8, but now he's going to pretty much get within that 1 second, but I think he will sure do, as he's got now Finns ahead of him, and ahead of Finns is Mahavir as well, but it's just sticking to that train. I think there was a little bit of contact between some of the drivers as well on the start of the race, because Farmer Sam, Noodles and ZK all had to box for what I believe would be new front wings, so something's definitely happened, causing those three to drop outside of the points massively.
Yep, not what you want at all at the beginning of a league race, but now Thomas Reid shaking up a move on Viper as they head down the straight, and he just pulls out in the DRS, and he's going to swoop through back behind his teammate as Rilo in the background is also going to go down the inside of turn 1, a late lunge for the McLaren, and that's Viper with sustaining a missing right front end plate, so front wing damage for the Red Bull explains a lot about his pace. And now Potato sees his chance and goes down the inside of turn number 4. And as they head through the exit, Potato giving him the squeeze as they head down the hill. And now Campbell Adams arrives on the scene. He's going to try the long way round on Viper as they drag race on the exit. Campbell Adams also making silent moves in this race, as well as Jack Humphreys falling off. Not the start he would want, but Thomas Reid and Campbell Adams are slowly picking off drivers one by one to get back into this train. Campbell Adams just a little bit further back from Thomas Reid, but will he look down the inside of Potato at turn 10? No, he won't, but Thomas Reid right up behind his teammate, and they've actually nearly made contact at turn 10. That's not what you want to do. They're already a second and a half off that leading DRS train. It is pivotal for Thomas Reid and Campbell Adams to close up to that train as fast as they can.
Yeah, and with Trent holding up his teammate, they've lost pretty much 1.5 seconds between the train ahead, as now Thomas gets the move done past his teammate, and hopefully Thomas can at least catch up to this pack as well. What if we see this pace a bit of a bluff? Lindsay, he did say he didn't want to qualify because he was very slow, so seeing him cutting his way through at the moment, he's now in P8, but now he's got to catch up to this train here as well before they start pulling away ever so slightly, but he's already gained pretty much 3/10. I reckon he's called a massive bluff, and everyone is probably going to win this race, don't you reckon?
I don't know about win the race. He'll definitely be in contention, but I do think that it was just an excuse to try last first challenge But crucially, I just saw it a moment ago. The reason why Campbell Adams isn't able to make moves probably as quickly as he'd like, as he moves past Potato, as I'm saying that, he's now going to try the long way around.
End
But he
plate.
has end plate damage. That is what I was getting to. And he has a crucial bit of damage here in Spain. Such a high downforce circuit, and with wing damage, it is going to be very difficult. He's showing some impressive pace given the circumstances, but definitely not what he'd want at all, as the leader swapping around once again, as Thomas Reid, without DRS, struggling to close in to Fins as Viper retires in the pit lane. Not ideal for both him and Dale's races, who have already had to retire, as Ioannidis as well leaves the session. Potentially a disconnect there from the V-Carb driver, but luckily enough for the team principal as well as driver, his fellow teammate Oxchillo is fighting up the front. And speaking of fighting up the front, Jammy's going to go down the inside of Yusuf as they head down the hill, and he isn't quite able to get alongside and fight that one back. But Abyss leading the way from Coxie, from Chillo, from Yusuf, from Jammy there in the top 5, as well as Mahavir in P6, and Fins is putting the pressure on for that P6 place as Ioannidis gets his way back into the session, and that was Fins thinking about going down the inside, but wasn't quite able to, as Campbell Adams also trying to find a way past Potato, but he isn't quite able to pull it off. But speaking of being able to pull something off, Thomas Reid has gotten into he has gotten into DRS range, is what I was trying to say. Took me a second to get the words out, but that is crucial for his races. Campbell Adams in the background goes off the racetrack, and that is Munnery now going down the inside of the straight. Campbell Adams' race going from bad to worse. That is not what he'd want, while his championship rivals are all fighting up the front, and Thomas Reid has gotten within the DRS range of the train in front.
Yeah, most definitely. And Campbell, he's just struggling. So for what was promised to be a great start for him, he's now dropping down the order ever so slightly. And this does not help him whatsoever in the three-way fight in the championship between himself, Left 4 Dead, and Oxchillo as well. Pretty much his championship rivals are sitting P3 and P8 respectively. And this is only pretty much the first third of the race underway so far, and we've only got 2 more thirds of it to go. And it looks like it's starting to be a struggle for Campbell as well. He needs, in hopes of a safety car, to chuck on those hard tyres and possibly even a front wing change to get himself to the end. I think that's the same thing for even Jack Humphreys, who's down in P14 at the moment. So he's definitely struggling for pace. I think he's starting on the hard tyre as Campbell does dive into the pit, so he's going to hop onto the hard tyre, get a front wing change, and then go right to the end. Hugh Daffy, Farmer Sam, Noodles, and ZK all in hopes for probably a safety car. Same with Campbell Adams.
Yeah, and you can never say never when it comes to Campbell Adams. Who knows, maybe the undercut will also just work to perfection for him. We know that he has some of the strongest pace, if not the strongest pace, on the grid, hand in hand with Thomas Reid and Oxchillo and the likes of those drivers. So maybe the undercut could be the right strategy to get him at least close. We know he's going to change a wing, so he will be slow. The undercut won't be that powerful, I'm sure, but he should be able to just get back into that sort of mid-pack and try to tick his way past, maybe even back to Potato, who was just fighting a few laps ago. It's a good question to ask with where he's going to come back out, but you can't call it until you see it. And Ryan Cox currently leading this race from Oxchillo from Abyss. They've been swapping around lap after lap down the straights. Coxie tried to pull a fast one there down the straight towards turn 10. He had a 6/10 gap, but he wasn't able to get it any further than that, and it's continued to shrink, but it's great to see him back and right on form, right where he left off in league racing, fighting for wins here in Tier 1. And as we head on to lap 11, he will probably lose the race lead to Oxchillo, but he's not going to give up. Nobody in this top fight is going to give up, as Yusuf goes down the inside of Ryan Cox, his teammate, and Ryan going wheel to wheel as they head through turn 3. We've seen teammates in real life come to blows down towards turn 4. Will we see a repeat as they make a run down towards the braking zone? No. They get through it. Coxie holds onto the place, just losing out to Abyss and Oxchillo. But Yusuf trying to scope an opportunity here as Mahavir switches to the inside on Jammy, but isn't able to get alongside. He's trying to poke a nose into this one as Thomas Reid has moved up into 7th place. And next on his list is Mahavir.
Yeah, most definitely. And he's definitely pushing as well. So they've obviously gotten the gap closer, and Same too with Finzies follows suit as well. And this top 8 fight now is pretty much what we see in every race. Pretty much. So we always see the top 8 go pretty much butt heads as well. And then you see the bottom the pretty much from 9th all the way down to probably like 12th, 13th. That's where the second amount of DRS train comes into play. But it's good to see all these boys racing respectively and respectively as well. But judging by Thomas' pace, he's gonna be looking for some moves soon. And this top 8 is looking very feisty. Potato got the move done on Rilo, so now he's up into P9. But now they're just dropping away from this DRS train. This is what you don't want to be doing in these early stages of the race, especially when we're getting pretty close to the pretty much the pit stop time, pretty much.
Yep, it is definitely not the time you want to be squabbling too hard. You can't be losing the DRS at this phase of the race, but that is exactly what they're doing, as Oxchillo has gotten out to 6/10 on Abyss, but with the DRS wide open on the Ferrari, he closes back in. But lap 12 of 33, so they will be considering pit stops in a couple of laps' time. I'm not exactly sure of the strategy around this circuit, but the drivers in the cockpit will know exactly when they plan on pitting, and a lot of them will probably just be trying to match the cars in front of them to avoid undercuts. As Oxchillo leading the race is going to swoop around the final corner and continue out in the lead, as Abyss will struggle actually to re-overtake down the straight as they head down towards turn 1. I do think he's actually going to hold station here, and Oxchillo holding the lead. He did that last lap as well, so clearly showing some good pace here, even on some worn medium tyres, is Oxchillo to get that sort of gap, as Yusuf is still trying to be punchy with Ryan Cox here. He did try and get alongside at turn 3, but Ryan just keeping his head cool, calm and collected, as meanwhile that was Thomas Reid side by side with Mahavir through turn 4. Mahavir has a snapper now. Reid is going to go down the inside, swoop into the top 6, and he has now completely arrived on the scene, and he will be trying to pick off drivers one by one to move up right into that top 3 fight, and it's only lap 13. So what a drive it's been so far from Thomas Reid. If he can continue that momentum, surely he will end up taking that victory.
Yeah, most definitely showing a lot of promise and a lot of pace as it stands. He's 6 points behind Oxchillo and Keble Adams in the championship, and right now one of his championship rivals is down in P15 after sustaining wing damage. His other championship rival is in P1, and we've got a few people already making the box. And already as Abyss, Mahavir, Jamie, and Rilo, and Trent all boxing, and I'm pretty sure this will be going for the undercut at this stage onto the hard compound tyre.
Yep, and this is where it really comes into play for the leaders. They will surely pit this lap, but if they do cover off the undercut, the gains will definitely be noticed. We'll see how strong the undercut is around this circuit, so we'll stay with Oxchillo and Coxie as they round through this 14th lap of the Grand Prix, and they will be under immense pressure now to deliver on the in-lap, to push as hard as they can to cover off the undercut. We know it's oh so powerful on this game, and now they're covering it off at what is quite a high tyre wear circuit at Catalunya. As Rad, as somebody who's driven this track just as late as last night, what can you say about the undercut at this circuit?
Undercut's very powerful here, but it's also the tyres. You gotta watch out for your cold rear tyres on the hard compound. Otherwise, pretty much rear grip here is essential, and you don't want to be using the rears too much. Otherwise, your car can go spinning into an oblivion, and that could be race over. As now Oxy, Thomas, Finns, Manry all make their pit stops, but we'll look on board with Abyss. He's coming around the second last corner now. And now the final corner. Will he get the undercut in his favour? Judging by it, it looks like he might just get Oxchillo. It's going to be a drag race towards turn 1. And Oxy stays ahead, crucially, and he keeps pretty much his provisional race lead. So a very, very stellar job from Oxchillo. Abyss all over the back of him already. But now what Chillo's got to do is keep Abyss behind. and warm up those tyres in the meantime. But as it stands, your provisional top 3 is Chillo, Abyss, and Jammy.
Yeah, and this is going to be really interesting now to see when Ryan decides to come into the pit lane. We'll actually go to the 2 Aston Martins. He'll be hoping that the teammate he has in front of him does not come into the pit lane, and Yusuf does not. And now Ryan is pulling into the pit lane. We'll stay on board with the Aston Martin, but we already know that just one lap caused a couple of tenths gain from Oxchillo to Abyss, but Ryan was then out pretty much on his own with only his teammate in front of him on this lap, so surely that gap will reduce even more. He's going to try to have the tyres better at the end of the race and lose out some track position, I think, as he makes the run towards the pit lane exit. That's a driver off towards the final chicane, and at the pit lane exit now, down towards turn 1 they go. Ryan is going to pull out, and it's nearly 3 wide as Abyss takes the lead, and Coxie's just going to slot right into 4th place. There's a little bit of contact between himself and Jammy, and provisional P4 on the road goes to Ryan as he tried to make a move for the P3, but he still joins right back into that fight. But that contact was not good at all, as that has put Jammy at risk of losing the DRS, but still 6.5 tenths inside for Jammy as he just uses a little bit of battery to close back up, as that gap was pretty close to about 8 tenths of a second, but now they're right back into it, and Ryan will be fairly happy with the result of that overcut, as he'll have now 2 laps fresher tyres than Abyss and 1 lap fresher tyres than Oxchillo come the end of the race.
Yeah, most definitely, and as you were saying, the incident at the second last corner, it was Rilo who got attacked by the invisible wall that still exists at this circuit. So thought they would put a fix on it by now, but it hasn't, as ZK is retired in the pits. So it's going to be race over for him. Noodle still soldiering on. Yusuf in the pits, and he comes out. I think he'll be coming out behind. That'll be behind Left 4 Dead, in front of the Kick Sauber of Lord Mojave in P7. So he's done fairly well, but I think with those cold tyres, Mojave has got looking for a move down the inside. There's yellow flag in Sector 1, and that's just the Williams of ZK as well. As now Mojave slots back behind, so now Yusuf will stay in P7. But as it stands, your effective race leader at the moment is Oxchillo, who will, as it stands, lead the championship heading into the next round.
Yeah, and Thomas Reed currently hounding the back of Ryan Cox as they make their way towards turn number 10, and he's going to swoop the long way round in the DRS, move up into P5. So Ryan finds himself in a tricky position at the back of a lead train in F1 24 in a tier 1 league race. That is one of the positions you do not want to find yourself in my opinion. That is one of the hardest positions to actually make your way through and continue fighting for a win. But he's also now going to have to use Thomas as a little bit of a buffer to close him back in closer towards that P3 train after Jack Humphries is pitted, and then use that to slingshot himself past and right back into the fight. We know that he was completely on the pace in the first stint, and he's still on the pace, but finding himself at the back of this train effectively is definitely not where he'll want to end up being.
Yeah, most definitely is. Manry is now retired on the track, and that is a safety car. Yusuf is retired in the pits, so a safety car has come out now with pretty much, I don't even know how many laps to go. 15 laps to go. Yeah, that's my math. With 15 laps to go in this race, and that will help the likes of Hugh Daff, Pharmacem, and Noodles as well. So, yeah, it's going to be a very big question mark to see where they could finish in this final race. It's pretty much, if they, in this race, and it's pretty much, if you finish now, you get in the points regardless. But now, this is going to help the likes of Jack Humphries as he gets to pit. Does everyone else pit? I think so. Everyone else, I'm pretty sure, is going on to the medium tyre, is what I would say. Lord Mojave stays out. Potato come in. Trent come in. I think the 2 McLarens will come into the pits. Yes, they will. I think Hugh Duff, Farmer Sam, and Noodles will definitely be coming in soon. But now the leader is Lord Mojave, and the biggest winner for that safety car is Jack Humphreys, who's now in second place on fresh mediums.
Yeah, Jack was not in a good spot in this race after that first stint, and he was still in his first stint of the race, but now a safety car has brought him right back into it and into the P2 spot right behind Mahavir. So this is a position he thought he was more likely going to end up in, as Campbell Adams will also be delighted with a safety car. He is in P10 after all these stops are said and done. After the safety car is said and done, he will be in that P10 spot and back in a position to charge. And already I can see that that top 10 is just going to stay as a big train. I don't think Potato will lose that train, and Finns with the DRS we saw can stay inside, and Ryan Cox is definitely not going to lose this train at all. So this is going to be, I think, pretty much a 10 driver train for the race victory here, with about 14 laps to go.
Yeah, most definitely. I think those three. I think it was even Yusuf. He was sitting in a good spot, and he went into the pits and just. I don't even think he even wanted to finish the race. So, very, very weird on some of these drivers' retirings. But at this stage, it helps. It's now, we've got 15 drivers left in this session. I think we'll be getting underway at, say, lap 21? Per chance?
Yeah, I would say that it'll probably be in at the end of this lap or next lap, but it is going to be a dash towards the end. And to answer your question in the chat, Geordie, who I'm sure is engineering, but he probably could have figured this out himself if he paid attention. Mahavir had already come into the box, so he has just decided to stay out and keep track position, but he'll be fairly compromised with a set of hard compound tyres. On the race restart, he might be able to hold on with a bit of DRS, but he also has older tyres as well, so he'll find himself falling down the order once we actually get back underway for the racing action. As while we talk about tyres, we will go look at the tyre graph, and what more did you expect? Every single driver except Mahavir is on a set of fresh yellow wall tyres of the medium. So Mahavir, the only driver with white striped tyres on the grid currently in Catalunya, and that is not what you'll want to see. A pack of angry cars behind him with softer, fresher rubber with a 13 lap sprint.
Yeah, now I think we'll be definitely getting underway, I think towards the end of this lap or next lap, judging by how fast Noodles can catch up to the rear of the grid behind the safety car. But looking by it, it looks like I don't think he'll be able to catch up in time. So we'll soon find out. I think he might just. Just watching him come through the final part of the sector, and I think we'll be going for one more lap.
Yeah, which is exactly what these medium tyre runners would want. It means they'll have less drop off at the end, and that hurts Mahavir even more in the grand scheme of things, but it also hurts drivers trying to make their way through, like Campbell Adams, like Potato. They will not want any more laps under safety car. They'll just want to get right back into the racing action and try and find their way back up through the field. Same with Ryan Cox as well, currently sitting in P7. Same with Thomas Reed. Pretty much anybody who isn't in the P1 car from last train, or Jack Humphreys or Mahavir, you'll basically want that green flag to fly as fast as possible so you can start getting overtakes.
Yeah, most definitely, and because he's got a pretty much Thomas Campbell as well. They pretty much got they've got a championship battle with Oxchella, who's sitting in a very comfortable P3 at the moment. He's going to be. Those two need to get a good amount of positions immediately and pretty much just try and battle and stay within that DRS train. Otherwise, it could be it could be a very pretty much points that you do not want to lose. You want to keep this momentum going into the next round, which I believe is is it Zandvoort?
I do believe, yes, it will be the Dutch circuit next week in Rapid. So here we go. safety car in this lap. Mahavir now becomes the effective Kick Sauber pace car, but as most of you would know, that's about the maximum speed of the Kick Sauber anyway, at the best of times out on the racing track. So he's just going to be holding up the field, and he's actually snapped out in the lead and ghosted. If this was Jack Humphreys being an opportunist, he might have actually been able to take the lead there with the car in front of him ghosted. But Mahavir will now be ready to kick off proceedings here for the race restart. As here he goes, weaving away, getting ready to plant it, and he does plant his foot now, and we are back underway for racing action, and Jack Humphreys does get caught lacking just a little bit, and Oxchillo is right up behind him. There's 5/10 to Mahavir, so not a great restart for Jack Humphreys, but not a disaster either, as they head down towards turn 1. Chillo trying to put the pressure on, and he tried to look the long way round, but he wasn't quite able to get back alongside through the mid part of the chicane as they still continue to race down towards turn 4. Not a lot of swapping going on up and down the field. This is just one big train that's just waiting for the DRS to activate, as meanwhile Campbell Adams though surely has to get a shuffle on, and he does. He's now going to try the long way round a Potato, and he's going to get that move done. He's now into the top 10, P9 for the McLaren right now, as he still continues to find his way through the field. Finn's next up on his list, and then Ryan Cox is still hounding the back of Left for Dead, but he's not quite able to get alongside, and he's a couple tenths back as well, so that'll not be his ideal restart, as Campbell Adams is now going to go down the inside of Finn's. Next up on his list is Ryan Cox, the returning man, and he will make no exceptions when it comes to going down the inside of someone. He just needs to get through. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be Thomas, it could be Ryan, it could be Oxchillo or Jack Humphreys. He's just going to go down the inside and try and get this race victory. We have 10 more laps of racing in Barcelona, and it's anybody's game or guess as to who's going to win.
Oh my god, it's a pretty much two abreast on the top 4 into turn 1, and Jack Humphreys has gotten the lead. He's had an immense move on Lord Mahavir. Campbell Adams and Thomas Reid fighting for position here. They're 5th and 6th now, getting the moves done on Jamie as well. And I think Campbell Adams looking for a move on Thomas Reid respectively. We've pretty much got 11 laps to go on this race. And Lord Mahavir is struggling on these hard tyres. He's now nearly lost a second to Jack Humphreys, which could be crucial for this win factor for Jack Humphreys as well, as they head up the hill once again. And judged by the RS does not look good on Mahavir. He's going to be defensive, and Oxchillo gets the move done up into P2. But now the real question is, can he get it within that 1 second before they hit the detection zone, as they go up the hill through the penultimate corners now? And I think he'll get within that 1 second. Mahavir is struggling for the pace here in the Kick Sauber, especially in the with those hard tyres. We go back onto the main straight, and Thomas is looking for probably a double overtake here. He's going to tuck in behind the Ferrari, and he gets the move done on the Kick Sauber. So does Campbell. Sends it into the corner, and now it's Thomas Reid and Campbell Adams sitting in 4th and 5th respectively. So now their sides are on the pretty much the win of this race.
Yep, as now round the outside goes Jamie on Mahavir, and oh no, he gets caught up in contact with Ryan Cox, who's now going to get overtaken by Finns, and Ryan will not be happy with that bit of contact. Mahavir will also not be happy to have a snap like that, and Ryan has gotten quite significant damage on that Aston Martin, and he will not be happy whatsoever on his return. He was looking so strong, so calm, so collected, and now he has damage at the worst of times, as Potato is going to go down the inside. Trent Newton gives Ryan a tap, and Ryan's gone spinning off into the gravel after that tap with Trent Newton, who just rear ends him like he's not even there, and that is not what he'd want whatsoever. But now back up the front, Oxchillo versus Humphreys versus Abyss versus Reid versus Adams, and the rest of the drivers in the train. The list goes on as down towards turn 1, as Oxchillo hunting a move, pulls to the right hand side, sweeps into the race lead, as Abyss defending from Thomas Reid through turn 1, and that is good defense there from Abyss, as Ryan's pulled into the pit lane and he's called it quits, and another DNF for the returning man this season. And every time it looks so good for him, he falls down the order and it all goes wrong. But he'll be back with a vengeance next round, as Thomas Reid trying the long way round on Abyss as they head down the hill through the hairpin, and he gets a good run off the corner, but Abyss has the defensive line through turn 7 and 8, and now through turn 9 he holds onto the place, but they are bleeding lap time to the cars in front. Oxchillo and Humphries starting to just get a little bit of a gap to this train behind as Reed is desperately trying to get past Abyss. I think it would be in his best interest to wait behind, but Ioannidis moves up into P8, but he has 2 seconds to the next car, so all that squabbling that Mahavir has done has cost them dearly as they lost DRS to that top 7 train as they all continue to squabble away, and Abyss did nearly lose DRS to Humphries and Oxchillo as down the straight they go. Humphries will sweep back past, but now surely Thomas Reed is going to try to take his opportunity, and he does. He pulls to the right hand side. He's going to go down the inside of turn 1, but he actually backs out of it, and Campbell Adams just waiting in the wings, waiting for a mistake to try and capitalise and get through.
Yeah, most definitely in there. Now the battle is on for P8 as well between Noodles and Lord Mahavir, and that top 7 now, it's going to be a real fight to see who's going to pretty much sort themselves out for the podium. It's pretty much anyone's guess, Lindsay. That top 5, pretty much anyone that top 7 can even just snatch away the podium as Trent gets a 3 sec for multiple warnings as well. And now he's gone right down the order. He's gone right round. I think he had contact with, I believe was Mahavir, as well as now I think that was, Potato having a bit of a moment, or Farmer Sam having a moment. It's all popping off at this end of the race. As it stands, a safety car has just brought this race to life.
Yeah, it definitely has, and now we have only a couple more laps until the end. 7 more laps after they cross the line this time by. So Oxchillo in the hunt for the lead again, with Jack Humphries currently leading the way in the Silver Arrow, as Abyss in the Prancing Horse also is going to try find a way through, but surely he doesn't go down the inside. He does go down the inside, but still the 2 leaders are wheel to wheel, and now Thomas Reed is going to try get involved as well as they head through turn 3, but the Alpine not quite able to get a nose in on the Ferrari as he is desperately trying to find a way into that top 2, but Abyss very low on battery. He's trying to use it all. He's tried to get past Jack Humphries or Oxchillo at turn 1 and turn 2, and now Campbell Adams sweeps through past Thomas Reed, as Thomas Reed, I think, is missing an end plate on that Alpine. That would explain a lot. He is missing an end plate, and that is why he hasn't been able to get past Abyss, and that puts a massive hurt into his race. A lot of drivers have been getting end plate damage in this race, and that is not what you want at all. It's such a high downforce circuit, and that is going to hinder his chances a lot, and I think that's pretty much him considered down and out as Campbell Adams begins to pull away, and now he's arrived in the top 4 against the odds after end plate damage earlier on in this race. A safety car brought him right back into it, much like it did with Jack Humphries, and now they're both here inside the top 4.
As we now cross the line, we're on lap 28 out of 33, and here we go once again. Does anyone make moves here? Yes, they do. Abyss going down the inside of Oxchillo as well. So too to follow suit between him and Jack Humphries. He's made massive contact, and that involves Campbell Adams, who goes through, swoops around the outside, and says thank you very much. And that is 2 places in one go. Unbelievable stuff from the McLaren driver. He's now into P2 from pretty much contact between a very desperate Abyss, and now Abyss dropped down into P6, and Campbell has pretty much seemed the biggest winner out of that, and that was pretty much a through goes a Lewis Hamilton-esque kind of moment, as well as now he is now going to battle out with Oxy, who I think is now dropping back to the end of the DRS train. I think he's just giving all the places back that Abyss lost, and now is just going to follow suit behind, which very good sportsmanship from Oxchillo. And I think that deserves a round of applause just to show that sportsmanship. Even though you're in the pretty much in the toughest of lobbies with very accredited drivers, you can still be very sportsmanlike and have a good race.
Yeah, but this really hurts that train behind's opportunity to get into the race win, as Thomas Reed has end plate damage and he's the leading car in this train, so they're just losing lap time all the time to the top 2. So I think this becomes a question of which of the top 2 is going to take home the victory, Campbell Adams or Jack Humphries, the 2 underdogs after getting damage in this race or having a poor first stint. More or less for Jack Humphries, they find themselves 1 and 2, and with a car behind them that has wing damage, and they're slowly breaking that DRS range with 4 laps to go. So this puts them in prime position for one of them to take the race victory. But who's it going to be? The McLaren of Campbell Adams or the Silver Arrow of Jack Humphries? Or who knows? Maybe Thomas Reid can just about stick within that DRS range and try and take it at the last possible moment. But Oxchillo, being at the back of that train, does not put himself in an opportune position to try and take the race win, which he was looking so comfortable to at least scrap for. And Abyss as well in P5 in not too bad of a position. But Campbell Adams also putting the pace on, and Jack Humphries is nearly 7/10 behind as they have a second now to Thomas Reid, but it wasn't through the detection. But I think it's comfortable to say that these two will break DRS on Thomas Reid soon enough as they swap around, and they nearly are outside of 1 second. So hope for all the cars. P3 and behind is slipping away for the race victory, but now the battle will be well and truly on for that final podium place. Jammy Dodge, Abyss, Finns, Oxchillo and Thomas Reid will all be going at it as Oxchillo is trying the long way round on Finns as they head through turn 4. There's a little bit of contact, and now down the inside goes the V-carb, and now he gets through, gets the place, and as he sweeps down the hill, moves up into the top 6, and next up is Abyss.
Yeah, there's now, I think it was Noodles disconnecting as well, so he's pretty much dropped down all the way down to the P13. He was ahead of that main train behind as well, and now he's fallen off to the disconnection. So it's all popping off here at the Spanish Grand Prix, as now when we come around, we'll have pretty much 3 laps to go in this race, and a round of applause to pretty much Thomas Reid to at least be holding up and just at least sticking within the DRS. There's a yellow flag at the mid-second sector, and that's the Ferrari of Hugh Daff, who's, I think he's gone off into where, I believe it's the alternate route up the hill, as well as now Campbell Adams and Jack Humphries swapping positions again. And with that broken end plate, Lindsay, it's pretty much, you're slow through the corners, but on the straights, you've got extra pretty much extra drag. So, like, reduced drag, so that means you're pretty much, you're faster in a straight line as Abyss goes down the inside, locks the rears, going for a very aggressive move, and he could not get that move done. He was looking for the move on Jammy down the hill, and the rears locked up on him, was going for it, and it looked like he was going to be on, and he messed up dearly, and pretty much could have cost him more points to his name in the championship.
Yeah, it is, it's not ideal for a lot of these drivers on the grid tonight with the damage and everything else going on. So championship chances will be hurt and will be helped for some drivers as well. But still, they're heading on to the penultimate lap of this race. Anything can happen in league racing, and still we have 2 more laps, 2 more charges to go as Jack Humphries sweeps through into the lead on the penultimate lap. And the question is, between these two, who wants to be leading heading onto the final lap? It looks like Jack Humphries does, as they also still have a hounding Thomas Reid, who despite having damage is now only 4/10 behind Campbell Adams. So he's not given up just yet. He's still trying to find a way into the fight for this race win on the penultimate lap, as Jammy also hounding the back, and Abyss and Oxchillo, you can't count them out, at least for a last second podium as well, but they'll be hard tasked to do so here in P5 and P6, as well as potential post-race reviews could change up this top 6 again. There's been a lot of drama in this race, so it's something that I'm sure my Stewart team is going to have to look at here. But as they head through into the 3rd sector, there is a sector and a lap to go here in Spain.
Yeah, here we go, and pretty much as it stands, this top 6, it's going to come to pretty much make that top 7. You can't count out Finns as well. This top 7 is going to come to life on this main straight as they head down the hill and around the final corner for the second last time. And here we go. What is going to be the moves going on? Campbell Adams gets the move done up into P1. Is there a change for P3? As it stands, Jamie looking for a move, can't get the move done, and he will stay behind in P4 as it stands, as we've got pretty much 2 sectors to go.
Yeah, and Campbell Adams in the race lead is pulling away a little bit from Jack Humphreys, and that's exactly what he needs to do, as there's one more overtaking opportunity with a touch of DRS, and that's down towards turn number 10, so it's Campbell Adams' job now to stop Humphreys from getting a good run through that sector, and currently he is falling away. Campbell has the trophy in one hand, but he still has to get the other to it, and he still has a couple more sectors to go to decide that. As they head up the hill, Thomas Reed is now going to be attacking Campbell Adams as they head down towards turn 10. Jamie thinks about putting a nose in as well, but nobody swapping places. Abyss goes late down the inside of Jamie, and there's contact between himself and Jamie, and now Oxchiller hits the back of him, and Finns moves up into P6, and now he's trying the long way around on Abyss as well as they head down through turn 13 and towards turn 14, but Arise quickly go back up to Campbell Adams. It's a spectacular drive from the back of the grid. He takes the race victory, but it's a drag race. Abyss gets it by 4 thousandths of a second, and that is a drag race for P4 and for P5, and he just holds on. But Campbell Adams, against the odds, from damage from up the back, gets P1 after the dust settles, and Jack Humphreys from out of nowhere as well gets P number 2, and Thomas Reed, even with damage, gets 3rd position. Jamie gets 4th, Abyss gets 5th, Finns rounds out your top 6 by such fine margins. Then Oxchillo dropped even further back after the contact, but what an absolute masterclass by Campbell Adams.
Yeah, most definitely. And that was pretty much his drive of the day as well. That was a stellar performance. Pretty much did not give up one bit, and he takes home the race victory. And as well, he'll pretty much take the championship lead heading into the next round as well at Zandvoort. As congratulations to the top 3. And Lindsay, I think in a moment's time we'll be doing the interviews.
Yes, we will be. So we'll just get that ready. No, not the safety car scene. Where are the interviews? I'm blind, or they're gone. Either way. No, there they are. Alrighty, so I'll just make sure that all of the audio is working. Yes, it should be. And then we will fix up that order that you see on your screen in a moment's time. So it was Campbell Adams knocking out the race victory. So we need the McLaren showing. I need to move that to...
I will be right back. I don't know if I'll be able to do podiums. I'll just be right back. If I'm not back, then just start without me.
Yeah, cool. As we'll hide Williams. Second place was Mercedes. P3 was... As we'll just quickly move into the podium. So it was P1 Campbell Adams, P2 Jack Humphreys, P3 Thomas Reed, podium VC. So we're just getting the podium sitters into the commentary box so we can conduct post-race interviews. We are just waiting now on the P2 sitter of Jack Humphreys, and then we can kick off proceedings here. No, he's not coming. All right, so we'll start with Thomas Reid, P3, mate, and with damage. That is very, very impressive. Not to mention where you started as well. Just walk me through your race a little bit, and then if you are happy with the result.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I'd try to start lasting quali because it's just more fun, especially at a track like this. Early on, just made a lot of positions and it was pretty smooth sailing until the safety car, and then even then, both safety cars went well for me in terms of positioning and strategy. And then I don't know, I tried to fake Abyss and I kind of made a mistake and ripped my own end plate off, so that was completely my fault. Otherwise, I think I could have fought Campbell and Jack for the win a little more, rather than just hang on to the back of them for dear life. I was pushing absolutely as hard as I could. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the result, and the race was pretty fun. The racing, especially in the top 6, was pretty good, so all in all, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, fair enough. And then going into next round at the Netherlands, how do you feel about that circuit?
I actually really like Netherlands. I don't really qualify well there, but in terms of race pace, I feel pretty good.
Yeah, so congratulations to you. And now we'll move on to Campbell Adams. P1, mate. That is absolutely fantastic stuff. Just walk me through your race a little bit.
My race was a lot of ups and downs. Got wing damage lap 1. Obviously starting last, you expect that, but yeah, got wing damage straight away. Basically had no pace. Then pitted for hards early and just out of that DRS because I had to change the wing. So yeah, couldn't do much. And then yeah, fortunately safety car came out. And then just managed to pick my way through the field really quickly. And then once we got up to 5th, then yeah, obviously Thomas hit the back of Abyss, and then I was able to just slip through there. And then yeah, Abyss and Ox had a little coming together, and then just had to play patiently behind Jack to the last lap, and then just got an easy pass with DRS, and then just yeah, was able to comfortably bring it home.
Yeah, so congratulations, an absolutely stellar drive from you. And then moving on, next round at Netherlands, how do you feel about that circuit?
I don't really know how I feel about it. I always feel like I do well in race, but quali pace I just seem to lack a little bit, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, all right. Well, congratulations to you. Congratulations to both of you and Jack Humphreys as well. He wasn't able to make it. So, very good job for both of you, and thank you for watching, everybody, in the Rapid Twitch, or if you're watching on Sensational TV on the YouTube side of things, you'll be moved over to Fargon Racing in a brief moment's time. But that is all for Rapid Racing action tonight. Thank you for watching, and stay rapid.